Alright, let's take a look now at this select chain and how that works. Okay, so what I'm going to do to demonstrate this is I think I'll just create a rectangle, and why don't we put some fillet radiuses on there. I'll make them 1 inch in size, and I'm just going to sketch the start point and sketch the end point of this rectangle, so we have something like that. Okay, and to make things interesting, I'm going to use the single select option. I'm going to select that radius and hit the delete key on the keyboard, so we end up with something like that. Now the select chain tool will select all geometry that shares common endpoints. So you can see that these lines and arcs all share common endpoints. Okay, and here's how it works. You select the tool. Now I've got a cursor that says start, so OneCNC is looking for the start of our chain. If I want to select all of this, I don't want to start somewhere in here. I want to start at one of these ends. So I'm going to start here and left click. At this point we get an arrow, and this is the direction of our select chain. Well, I want a chain in this direction, so I want to make sure I select those arrows. Now my cursor changes to end, and I can take my cursor and I can left click the very end and everything gets selected there. Okay, now let me show you a bit of a shortcut here. I'm going to use the select chain tool. I'm going to select here, I'm going to left click, choose my arrow direction, but instead of taking my cursor to the very end, I'm going to hit the F3 key, function key 3 on the keyboard, and that will select the rest of the geometry. Okay? And at this point we can do whatever we want to with that geometry. We could delete it, we could change the color of it. There's lots of things we can do. If we want to delete, we just simply hit the delete key on the keyboard and we can delete it. If we want to undo that, we can hit our undo button. You can undo and redo as many times as you like within OneCNC. Now let's say that I'd like to change the color of these lines and arcs that make this shape right here. So to do that, I need to select the geometry first. So we're going to go up here to chain, left click the beginning, select the direction, and then I'm just going to hit F3 on the keyboard. Everything's selected there. Now that I've selected that, I can come down here and select the modify button, and now I can change the line style, the layer, the thickness, the color. Why don't we change the color? I'm going to change the color to a light blue and then click OK. Now this geometry is still selected, so I'm not going to see the light blue yet until I deselect everything. And now you can see the light blue geometry there. So if you ever want to modify geometry, make sure that you select it first. I'm going to select that shape, I'm going to go to modify, and how about we change the actual thickness of that line. And now I'll deselect that, and now you can see that one line has a different thickness to it. Same holds true when you're moving, mirroring, and rotating geometry. You always want to make sure you select your geometry first. I think what I'll do is I'll select these shapes once again. I'm going to hit the F3 key. Now that those are selected, if I want to move that, I can come over here and use the move tool. If I wanted to mirror it, I could use mirror or rotate. I'm going to use the move tool, and I don't want to make a copy, so I'm going to leave that unchecked. I'm just going to click OK. And now it says, okay, how do you want to move your geometry? Well, if you just want to move it over 1 inch or 2, you can use the increment option. Okay, in other words, I just want to move this 1 inch in X. Okay, that's going to move all of our selected geometry 1 inch in the positive direction. So if I click OK, you can see our geometry moves over that way. So just remember, when you're moving geometry, mirroring, rotating, when you're modifying geometry, make sure that you select the geometry first. Now this video is getting a little bit long, so I need to finish. I think I'll just stop with discuss a little bit about these two buttons down here. These are your color swatches down here. This allows you to change the color of your geometry as you're creating geometry. And let me explain a little deeper. Right now you can see this color swatch is set to green. This left color swatch has to do with all wireframe geometry. Okay? This right color swatch has to do with solids and surfaces. In our case, we're just working with wireframe geometry. So I could left click here. I could select any color that I want, or I could go with more colors and select any one of these colors, or if I wanted to go crazy, I could select custom and select any color that I want and click OK. Once I've done that, the color swatch changes. Now every piece of geometry now that I create, I'll create some points here, are now going to be created using that green color. Okay, and that little tiny color swatch you see in the lower left hand corner, those are your default colors. That just quickly gives me a way to go back to my default color. Most systems default the wireframe color to blue and the solids and surface color to gray. So again, that small little swatch in the lower left corner is just a quick way to get back to your default color. You just left click that. Okay, that's probably enough for now. I sure appreciate you watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.